go to View and Show Grid, you can take your grid on and off your layout. So if you're not really sure where you're making those points of interest, you can put your grid on your layout and kind of work around it because it shows you your grid, or take it off.
But it won't print.
It won't.
Back up.
Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit more about it. Okay. I just wanted everyone to get a grid up, but so if you scrapbook, like I said, you can keep that grid on or you can turn it off. But for those who want to try to scrap more with the rule of thirds to make layouts more visually appealing, since that's what this is about, you can work with that grid on. Okay? And that's all I wanted to show you on that one.
It says the color is being another color.
It's a light gray. You can change it. Yeah, you can change it. There was a little square when you were doing your grid, and you can click on that square and change the color brighter if you want your grid to show up brighter or not. And on that disc, you have some templates that we'll use in just a minute that are made for the rules of thirds. But here we have two layouts that are made around the rules of thirds. So do you have your imaginary grid. Go ahead and look at your laptop. You see where the grid is on your laptop if you were to make a layout? Can you see on these layouts where they are falling on that grid? Okay. These are both perfect examples of placing your pictures, papers, and elements on the grid for rule of thirds. So on that first left one, where is she placing things? What part of the grid is it on? The far right. The far right, whole right side, right? She has the little paper on the bottom as well as the top. The rickrack, even her picture's paced up. And see where her picture's at on that left one? It's on the intersection. Those intersections on the grid are the best places to put your main point of emphasis and things like that. And then on the second layout, it's on the bottom part of the grid, and her biggest picture right there is on that intersection.
The right line looks like it's lined up right along the left-hand grid, all the way up and down.
Right. Yes. Rules of odds. It's based on the idea that our eye finds things arranged in odd numbers more naturally and pleasing to the eye. This principle is used on all aspects of art, such as floral design, painting, photography, graphic design, and even landscaping. How many people have had their yards landscaped, or have they done themselves? If you've ever gone, if you've even driven past a neighborhood where you know they don't do their yards themselves, right? You know they've had them landscaped. If you notice the plants that they place in the front of the yard, you'll even notice that they usually do them in groups of three. They'll have 3 of one plant, and then 3 or 5 of another plant. And then they'll repeat that same pattern, but they all keep them in odd numbers. How do we apply the rule of odds to our layout? You can put the rule of odds into practice with the number of photos on a page, the number of embellishments that you choose, or even the background paper strips or designs. When choosing your elements, select them in 3, 5, 7, those odd numbers. When placing your photos, you have 2 options that will follow the rule of odds. You can either have one focal point photo and an odd number of supporting photos elsewhere on the page, or you can accent the focal point with an even number of photos near or surrounding it, thus creating that odd number of photos. So here is the layout that can help represent that rule of odds. Where's our rule of odds? 3 pictures. Okay. So it doesn't have to be all rule of odds. Of course, any rule is meant to be broken once you've mastered it, right? So you have 3 pictures here. I only use 3 photos, but there's 12 circles, but they're in rows of 3, and 3 is that odd number.
And you have the red in 5 places.
Yes, and you have the red in different places. There's a lot of odds in there. And that was it. So, now what we're going to do is, on the disc, I'm not sure which disc it was. Let's see. Disc 1 still. There is Third is the Word by Mandolin Scratch. She has an 8.5 by 11 templates and 12 by 12 templates. So go ahead and pick any one of those templates that you want to use, and we're going to take some time. You're not going to finish it, but we're going to go ahead and take some time and using some of the things that you learned, make a layout using her template. anyone who wants to go ahead and go into the Stuff to Scrap forum and make a comment about what you're doing right now will get another raffle ticket. Woo! Raffles! You go to the Stuff to Scrap forum.
And chit chat are under,
You know,
under the retreat.
I think chit chat anywhere really. Let them know how much fun you're having. Tell them what they're missing out on. Rub it in their face. Haha, look what I get to do. Done. What'd you say?
I already did it.
You were way too nice.
I put it underneath the retreat classes thing.
Done. Who's made it so far? Made a post or we got?
I know, I will. I made a post. She's trying to email what's on the CD.
Okay, well.